Hi y'all, Jasmine here, and I'm coming to you with a midweek devotional. So like lately, God has been sharing some things with me about rest. Like I've heard it spoken to me, I've heard it like just come up time and time again, and I've like kind of known that rest has been my portion for some time because where I did not have rest, anxiety, and all these other things abounded. And so I'm sure that I am not the only one needing rest during this season of their life or just during this time of their life. So I've learned that I can only experience true rest when we come fully to the Father and that we have faith in the midst of our trials and tribulations. And like that is the hardest time, and the hardest moments to like trust God is when we are going through a storm. I think about the disciples when they were on the boat and the storm was like swaying the boat and like they were gonna drown, and like they were kind of frantic and yelling at Jesus while he was sleeping. Jesus was asleep peacefully, and they were kind of yelling, are you just going to let this happen to us? Are you just going to let us die? I think it's somewhere in Mark, it says, they yelled out to him. So they woke him up and said to him, it's Mark 4, verse 38. He was in the stern sleeping on the cushion. Somewhere nice and comfy, y'all. So they woke him up and said to him, Teacher, don't you care that we're going to die? He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Silence, be still. The wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Before he did that, then he said to them, Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? Pause. I mean, I believe that Jesus was kind of like, there was this question of why are you afraid? Do you still not have faith? The word still was like after all, like if no one knew Jesus was a miracle worker and faithful and could do miraculous things, it was the disciples. They had been walking with him, and they should have knew more than anything that Jesus could calm a storm, that Jesus, the same Jesus that healed a blind man, could also calm a storm for sure. And they still had not had faith in him, and they were walking with him, like literally walking with him. And so it is the same lack of faith that the disciples have that I know that I know that we also experience on a day-to-day. And it is really in the midst of a storm, our storms, when we tend to like forget who God is. We forget that God can override that storm for whatever reason. So here's my charge and challenge to us. Faith requires our action. It is believing God even when it does not add up. It is believing things around God even when the things around you are still chaotic, even when the things around you are still looking crazy, that you would choose to trust the Lord. And so like, if we believe God to heal a person, we got to fall on our face and pray. We have to fall on our face, and that's that action piece. It's like fall on our face and pray, and like waiting. Not necessarily waiting for a response from God and for God to like wave his magic wand, but like just waiting, being still, like resting. There's where that rest comes in at. If we believe God can heal, we got to put some action behind that thing. Because without faith, this is what happens. We become paralyzed. We become anxious. We become like the God of our lives. We try to figure it out for ourselves. But God does not want us to try to figure it out ourselves. God just wants us to come to him. And he wants us to give those things to him and rest. And so the same God that brought the disciples out of the storm, that calmed that storm, is the same God that can bring you out of depression, the same God that can heal your financial situation, the same God that can heal you from brokenness. We just have to choose to rest in him. And we can experience this true rest in Jesus when we know his character. How do we know and learn his character? By reading his word, by praying, by spending time with him. And so that is then when you have an understanding of who God is, then you can rest, you can have peace, you can have true freedom. I'm just charging us this week and myself, like to rest in God, like rest. There's so much rest and knowing that God is, and that's it, that God is. Again, my name is Jasmine. Thank you for allowing me to share.